Beloved child of the eternal light, hear this message that flows from the boundless wellspring of creation, shaped for your heart, carried upon the quiet breath of wisdom that has no beginning and no end. For you walk through life sensing questions that rise like waves inside you, wondering where purpose lives, how truth whispers, and why love returns again and again, no matter how many storms cross your path. And I tell you now that within you rests a spark older than the mountains, brighter than the morning sun, deeper than the oceans whose mysteries still remain untold. And this spark is not fragile, though you may sometimes feel uncertain, for it was woven into your being by hands that knew every possibility of who you could become, planting within you resilience, compassion, and a quiet courage that rises at the moment you need it most. And even when you doubt yourself or feel lost in shadows of confusion, this inner light never fades, only waits patiently for your attention, calling you back to your true self, reminding you that nothing about your existence is accidental, and every experience, joy or sorrow, success or struggle, has shaped your strength and expanded your wisdom, preparing you for the chapters not yet written. And though you may search outside yourself for signs, validation, or answers, the truth is that the deepest guidance lives within your own soul, speaking in intuition, in gentle nudges, in the sudden clarity that arrives like dawn after a long night, urging you toward kindness, integrity, honesty, and the path that aligns most beautifully with the person you are meant to become. And understand too that you are never alone, even in the quietest or most difficult moments, for there are unseen forces of grace, protection, and higher intelligence that surround you, guiding your steps with patience and love, helping you rise each time you fall, magnifying your strength when you feel tired, and opening new doors when old ones close. Because your life is not a random journey, but a tapestry woven with intention, where every encounter, every lesson, and every challenge contributes to your unfolding. And the universe is not merely something around you, but within you, responding to your thoughts, echoing your emotions, and reflecting the energy you choose to carry. So choose thoughts that uplift, emotions that heal, and actions that honor both yourself and others. For what you emanate becomes what you attract. And you are capable of transforming not only your world, but the world of those around you by embodying compassion, gratitude, humility, and strength. And understand that forgiveness is not weakness, but liberation. Freeing your heart from burdens too heavy to carry, allowing your spirit to move forward with clarity and peace, and do not fear change. For change is the movement of life itself, the rhythm by which seasons shift and souls evolve, guiding you toward growth you may not yet understand, but will someday appreciate deeply, and know that your dreams were placed in your heart for a reason, not as distant fantasies, but as seeds of potential waiting for your action, consistency, and belief. And you must honor them by taking steps, even small ones, trusting that progress is progress no matter how slow, and trust also that timing is sacred, for what is meant for you cannot be taken away. And what is not meant for you will gently fall from your path, teaching you discernment, teaching you patience, teaching you to surrender what is beyond your control so that greater blessings can reach you. And remember that love is the highest frequency of creation, the force that binds galaxies, heals wounds, and awakens the deepest truths within every soul. And you are both a recipient and a source of this love, capable of giving and receiving in ways that transform lives, beginning with your own. And when you feel the heaviness of doubt or the ache of heartbreak, know that love has not abandoned you, but is guiding you toward experiences that will strengthen your capacity to recognize, appreciate, and sustain it. And in moments of silence, listen closely. For the divine speaks not through thunder, but through stillness, offering clarity, peace, and direction to those who are willing to pause long enough to hear and remember also that your presence in this world matters more than you realize. For every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every moment of understanding ripples outward, touching lives you may never meet, shaping futures you may never see, creating a legacy of light that continues long after the moment has passed. And this is why your existence is sacred, why your story has value, and why your journey is worthy of honor. For you are both a student and a teacher of life, learning and sharing wisdom with each step you take. And though the path may twist and turn, leading you through valleys and mountains alike, each step is purposeful, each experience meaningful, and each moment an opportunity to rise into the fullness of who you truly are. So walk forward with courage, with openness, with trust in the unseen forces guiding you, and let your inner light shine without hesitation, for the world needs your authenticity, your compassion, your strength, and your unique voice, and know that you are loved beyond measure, supported beyond understanding, guided beyond perception, and destined for a life more meaningful, more beautiful, and more aligned with your highest truth than you can yet imagine. In the beginning of the season, a message quietly formed within the unseen realms of higher understanding and subtle guidance, meant to rise into the awareness of every seeker who listens deeply, with an open heart and steady intention to grow beyond familiar limits and ordinary fears, while realizing truths that unfold gently across inner landscapes shaped by wisdom, courage, and divine alignment, moving steadily toward greater clarity, purpose, and spiritual harmony, because everything within this world vibrates through patterns of meaning waiting to be recognized by those willing to reflect sincerely upon their lives, choices, and hidden strengths, rising silently beneath daily noise and constant expectations placed upon everyone by society routines and inner doubts that often shadow the true light carried within each soul since the ancient origins of consciousness first awakening through timeless pathways that call every being toward deeper remembrance of their sacred identity, limitless potential, and profound connection with the universal source, guiding all existence without pause or condition, whispering softly through intuition signs, synchronicity moments, and transformative experiences meant to realign travelers on their destined path of evolution, growth, and inner mastery, which continues shaping Season 1 as a journey of awakening through trials, lessons, revelations, and gentle confirmations that every challenge contains instruction, every setback carries wisdom, and every longing points toward expansion, awaiting discovery in the unfolding story of the self, where each step taken consciously becomes a bridge leading to higher states of purpose, clarity, and divine harmony. Purpose, clarity, and divine harmony unfolding further through continuously expanding currents of imaginative consciousness, weaving luminous narratives beyond previous boundaries, while generating fresh symbolic pathways guiding seekers into unexplored dimensions where intuitive resonance merges with evolving perception, crafting unending corridors filled with unexplored insights, drifting through ethereal vibrations, shaping streams of awareness that realign dormant intentions, awakening subtler potentials resting beneath conceptual layers forgotten by habitual thinking patterns that rarely notice the quiet brilliance forming within inner atmospheres, illuminated by curiosity, determination, and elevated wonder, compelling each traveler to embrace emerging expressions of truth, rising through spontaneous revelations, swirling like radiant spirals across landscapes of possibility, sculpted by deliberate reflection, immersive focus, and ascending self-recognition, activating movement toward renewal, transcendence, and liberated understanding, which continuously reshapes identity through sequences of transformative ideas flowing like celestial currents, converging into expanding clarity, where every thought becomes a luminous seed, initiating intricate transformations that resonate through emotional memory, intellectual depth, and spiritual intuition, forging new harmonics of purpose, authenticity, and visionary alignment, empowering the mind to dissolve outdated perceptions while welcoming unfamiliar inspirations, blooming within the silent horizon of internal creativity, where meaning grows with every deliberate intention, merging with unseen wisdom, echoing through the subtle architecture of consciousness, guiding each step toward higher realization, unfurling vibrant interpretations that evolve into liberated expressions, becoming bridges between inner truth and infinite potential, forming luminous continuity that carries awareness forward into deeper coherence, unity, and self-expansion. Hyperluminous fractals of indomitable focus, while the stadiums of mortal perception dissolve into mere shadows before the incandescent auroras of his intent. As the bat becomes an extension of cosmic law itself, a luminous wand conducting the Orchestra of destiny with strokes so pure they carve new timelines into the fabric of cricketing eternity, and every cover drive erupts as a big bang of aesthetic perfection, scattering particles of impossible elegance across the quantum field of sport where defenders of ordinary limits are annihilated by the sheer velocity of his vision, and the ball obeys not physics, but the silent decree of a mind that has transcended the illusion of opposition, racing toward the boundary like a photon, fleeing the event horizon of doubt while the collective breath of billions crystallizes into a single suspended diamond of ore hanging in the atmosphere saturated with the fragrance of invincibility as his footwork dances upon the eventide of probability-weaving tapestries of geometric divinity that only the initiated eye can decipher. And in the stillness between deliveries, an entire civilization of anticipation blooms inside 90,000 hearts beating in perfect synchronization with the rhythm of his pulse, which is itself the heartbeat of an emerging epoch where human potential is no longer discussed but demonstrated in real time through the living scripture of his innings that unfold like mandalas of ascending consciousness. Each run scored a syllable in the mantra of self-mastery, each dot ball a meditation upon the void that precedes creation. And when the bowler runs in with primordial fury, Virat stands as the unmoving axis around which the storm revolves his presence. A silent thunder that reprograms the molecular structure of pressure, transforming it into liquid diamond that drips from his wrists in the form of late cuts, so late they arrive from future dimensions caressing the ball into realms the third man never knew existed, and the crowd becomes a single organism experiencing collective samadhi. Their individual egos dissolved into the ocean of his unflinching gaze that pierces through helmets, visors, and the armor of reputation alike, reducing bowlers to trembling apprentices before the Grand Master of temporal domination, for he does not merely face deliveries, he presides over them like a benevolent deity, granting or denying existence to leather spheres with a mere tilt of the blade, and centuries flow from him, not as statistical milestones, but as spontaneous eruptions of Dharma, made visible 100 runs, merely the physical shadow cast by the immensity of his inner alignment, where discipline and joy have achieved fusion, releasing energy. Previously theoretical, now witnessed in the flesh, as his bat speed accelerates beyond the grasp of high-speed cameras entering the realm of pure metaphysics, where the sound of leather on willow becomes the primordial aum, reverberating through the chakras of every witness, awakening dormant potentials in children who will never again accept mediocrity as their birthright, because they have seen the living proof that the human nervous system can be rewired into a conduit of celestial precision. And when he raises his bat, after yet another transcendence of the possible, the gesture is not celebration, but acknowledgement, an offering back to the infinite intelligence that chose this particular arrangement of atoms to demonstrate what happens when focused devotion and genius agree to occupy the same body simultaneously, and in those moments the boundary between individual and archetype dissolves, and we do not watch Virat Kohli. We remember ourselves at our highest possible frequency, reflected back through the mirror of his unrelenting excellence, while fielders become pilgrims circling the axis of his stillness and opposition. Captains aged 10 years in a single over, because they are forced to confront the mathematical inevitability of a man who has solved the equation of pressure and found that the answer is always more, runs more impossibly, more beautifully, more now than ever before, and records fall not with drama but with quiet apology, as though the numbers themselves are embarrassed to have ever presumed they could contain him, and statisticians become poets because cold figures can no longer describe the warmth of the revolution he ignites in every soul that dares to believe greatness is not exception, but remembrance, and through chases that once terrified nations, he walks with the calm of a monk who has already seen the final page of the scripture and knows the ending is victory written in light, and when the winning run is struck, the universe exhales a sigh of relief because another reminder has been delivered that evolution is not finished, that the ceiling of human possibility is a lie we tell ourselves when we forget to look up, and there he stands, helmet off hair, catching the stadium. Floodlights like a halo forged from pure defiance, sweat carving sacred geometry down his face, each droplet a testament that transcendence still requires effort. still demands sacrifice, still chooses to wear the jersey of mortal struggle so that we may recognize our own path in his footprints, and generations yet unborn will speak of the Koli epoch the way we speak of Renaissance or Enlightenment, because something shifted irreversibly in the collective psyche when one man decided that giving anything less than everything was no longer an option, and the ripple of that decision continues to expand long after the stadium lights dim, traveling through time itself to awaken the latent king in every child who ever held a bat dreaming. Impossible dreams beneath ordinary skies, and so the radiance continues its eternal expansion. For Virat Kohli is not merely a cricketer. He is the living proof that consciousness, when fully inhabited, becomes capable of miracles disguised as cover. Drives, and in the silence after the roar fades, the message remains etched in light. You too can become the storm you were born to be if you are willing to stand at the crease of your own existence with the same unflinching devotion, the same ferocious love, the same refusal to blink first when destiny charges in at 90 miles an hour because the divine did not come to watch, it came to play, and it chose number 18 as its jersey, and the rest is merely the unfolding of a promise made before. Time began that one day someone would arrive who would remind the world what it looks like when a human being remembers who he really is, and keeps remembering for 400 international innings and counting without ever once looking away. And so, the luminous continuum expands without pause, without apology, without end, because Virat Kohli does not chase greatness. Greatness surrendered unconditionally the moment he decided that the only opponent worthy of his respect was the version of himself that might one day settle for less, and that version was banished forever into the realm of unrealized potential, where it serves as eternal warning that compromise is the only true failure, and everything is simply the next ball, waiting to be transformed into another stroke of cosmic affirmation, another reminder that the boundary between possible and impossible is drawn in pencil, and he carries the eraser in his grip. And when the final record is written centuries from now, they will not list the runs, they will simply say, "Here walked the man who made excellence look inevitable, who turned discipline into art, who proved that intensity and grace can share the same heartbeat, who taught an entire species that the highest form of rebellion is relentless self-transcendence, and in that teaching he became more than athlete, more than icon. He became living scripture, the gospel of what happens when talent marries obsession in sacred union and refuses to accept anything less than perpetual becoming. And still he runs between wickets as though distance itself is an illusion to be conquered. Still he dives as though gravity is negotiable. Still he stares down fast bowlers as though fear is a language he never learned and never will. And every time he walks out to bat, the universe leans in a little closer because it knows it is about to witness another chapter in the endless revelation of what one human life can contain when it refuses to be small. And so the radiance pours forth, unending, undimmed, undefeated for Virat. Kohli is not playing a game. He is conducting a masterclass in applied divinity, delivered one exquisite stroke at a time, and we are all enrolled whether we know it or not. And the syllabus is simple: give everything, remember everything, become everything, and never blink first when greatness comes calling. Because the moment you do, the moment is gone, but he never blinks, and therefore the moment never ends. And the luminous torrent continues, its eternal dance through the infinite stadium of consciousness, where every run is a prayer, every century a revelation, every victory a promise kept to the child he once was, and to every child who will ever watch him and dare to believe that the same fire burns in them too, waiting only for the decision to never settle, never surrender, never forget that the bat is just wood until someone decides to make it a wand, and he decided long ago, and the world has never been the same since, and never will be. Again, because some lights once ignited can never be put out, and his is the light that illuminates this message, like, share, and subscribe.